region than I am. You're 19.5 degrees latitude, I'm almost at 40. So beekeeping for honey flows and things like that, swarming is entirely different. But one thing is the same. Hygienic bees can help your fight against the Varroa and the hive beetle. And that's what we're going to attempt to do during this seminar, is identify hygienic colonies and learn how to breed from them. Now, I don't expect, and you shouldn't expect, that grafting 4 or 5 queen cells this week and you're going to know all there is to know about queen room. It took me 2 or 3 years of grafting hundreds of cells a month to get to the point where I am now. So there was a lot of practice involved, and that's all it is, like anything else, just practice. I'll give you the basics of what to look for and how to get started, but I fully expect it's going to take any of you that really attempt this several years to get to the point where you're getting good queen cells on a consistent basis. So don't be disappointed. It's not an easy thing. The genetic diversity is really where we need to focus now. You've lost the majority of your bees to the mites. I'm guessing between 70 and 90%. So what you've got left is pockets of survivor bees. And that's good. But you can't just stay in your own individual area and keep breeding bees. You've got to spread the genetics around. So I hope that at the end of this class, the people that do actually rear queen cells will have some kind of a cooperative effort where they can share queen cells amongst your different yards. In other words, if Ron has queens mated here to his drones, it would be great to be able to get those queens over to your yard and get the queens that you raised over here, because it's a whole different genetic pool, even if it's the same queen, original queen stock. The drone stock is equally as important as the queen stock, remember. And so we'll discuss that a little bit further when we talk about genetic diversity a little bit further. But the strategy for the cell distribution is just what I entailed. We want to be able to share cells amongst ourselves and different apiaries to get the good genetics spread around the island. How do we make good cells? Well, you have to have cell builders that are chock full of bees. You need about 400 nurse bees per cell to draw out 20 cells. So you do the math, 400 times 20. That's how many nurse bees we need in that box, plus extra. And also you need good pollen, and you need honey and or syrup. I like to put honey up there, but I also like to feed syrup because it engorges the glands of the nurse bees where they produce royal jelly. So that's what we're after, the most royal jelly production from the nurse bees. So we're going to add syrup even though we've got a honey flow going on. We're not going to do pollen patties. I normally do pollen patties in North Carolina, but the hive beetles really love pollen patties. And you're kind of an epidemic stage of the hive beetle, so we're going to forego that part of it. We're just going to find some frames of pollen to put up there. But essential that you have good pollen up there next to your graft when you put it in. Well fed, plenty of pollen, plenty of bees. That's the 3 things to remember. We're going to set up 2 cell builders this morning over here. One, we know that we've got a queen that's got a colony that's got chalk brood. So the best and quickest method to eliminate chalk brood from your colonies is to requeen. Same with stone brood, sac brood, any other brood diseases, with the exception, of course, foul brood, European foul brood, American foul brood, which hey Ron, do you destroy your American foul brood colonies? Is that the procedure here in Hawaii? In Europe, they shake them out onto foundation and burn the box, but I burn the whole, I just burned the whole colony and everything.
It really depends on the people.
Yeah.
The one main person that I know that has and claims he's got it every year, he
Well, he's just masking the symptoms.
They had, Danielle invited everyone down to this one farm where she had 4 hives that had foul brood, and they burn the frames, and then they torch the inside of the...
I don't believe that works. Torching the boxes is the old way of doing things, but those spores, the foul brood spores, will actually live in propolis for over 50 years. 50 years. Well, in Europe, they advocate shaking all the bees onto a new box with new foundation, feeding them sugar syrup, and letting them draw out wax. That eliminates all the spores that are in their body by producing the wax. And since it's buried deep in the wax comb, it shouldn't affect the hive. Well, as being a bee breeder and somebody that sells bees all over the place, I can't even risk that. So whenever I find foul brood, I seal them up, I put them on top of a wood pallet, I soak it with gasoline, I burn it. Now, thankfully, I've only had to do that twice in 11 years. But it's a pretty serious thing. That's why you don't really want to, and since we got beginners here, I'm going to digress a little bit. When you're looking to buy bees and you're looking to buy equipment, don't buy used equipment. You're setting yourself up for heartache. better to start out with new stuff, and then you know what you've got. If you're buying used equipment from people, if it's somebody reputable like Ron, okay. But there's a lot of people that don't take care of their bees. They don't know what's in the box or what they've got. So just be careful when you're buying bees. Make sure it's not in old falling apart equipment. Not a good idea.